Last Saturday, the Unite the Kingdom rally took place in London, and it proved that many British people have had enough. It also proved how out of touch the government is, and that the term far right is being flung around to apply to anyone that two-tier kid doesn't like. That being said, there were problems. There were 423 arrests, of which 70 were for possession of drugs, 46 for the possession of an offensive weapon, 44 for drug dealing, 18 sex offences, 5 robberies and 2 stabbings. Oh no, sorry, that isn't Unite the Kingdom, that's this year's Notting Hill Carnival, the celebration of Caribbean culture which always descends into an orgy of debauchery and violence. Keir Starmer said nothing about that. The mainstream media said that there were between 110 and 150,000 people in attendance. That is utter bullshit. It was closer to 1 million, and there were 25 arrests, and 25 is still too many. But most of those arrests occurred when a group of around 5,000 counter-protesters turned up, spoiling for a fight. The previous weekend, though, the pro-Palestine rally, that had 890 arrests. But let's hear what Keir Starmer said about Unite the Kingdom. Britain is a nation proudly built on tolerance, diversity and respect. Our flag represents our diverse country and we will never surrender it to those that use it as a symbol of violence, fear and division. I should have sounded a bit like a Dalek to do that. Can someone inform the Prime Minister that most of the division in this country is being stoked up by either him personally or his political party? It was Tony Blair who threw open the gate for mass uncontrolled immigration. When Starmer was head of the CPS, he chose to ignore Pakistani Muslim rape gangs driving division in society. It was him who labelled thousands of people as far right, and until very recently insisted that anyone flying either of those two flags must be a far-right racist. So let's see some of these white supremacists last Saturday.
What's your names? Why are you here today?
I'm Anne, that's Andrew, my husband. We want our children to be able to speak without being prosecuted or being arrested. We don't want them to have tweets on X or anything else and being criminalized for thoughts. I think everybody should be able to speak, say whatever they want to say. I don't care how bad it is, because at the end of the day, we can always...
It's not inciting violence.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't incite
That's the limit
violence,
for you
yes,
guys.
Absolutely.
So you're very much here for the free speech
Yes,
element of the protest.
absolutely.
Lots of people seem to be here for different reasons.
Yeah.
The most people I've spoken to today has been anti-immigration.
That too as well.
That's up to a point, yeah.
Okay.
Because you can't just let people in without any kind of checks. Don't know into it.
Absolutely, because we've had to, I mean, he's born here, but I'm married to him, and I've had to pay to get everything done, you know, to be legalized. I don't accept anybody coming here on a boat and then getting a hotel room, 5-star hotel and everything else that goes with it. I'm totally against that. For those who have come here legally, it is immorally wrong for those that have come here illegally to be allowed to stay. And then we have veterans on the streets, people with mental health conditions are on the streets because they can't keep a home. Well, house everybody else here first. And after you do that, then you can bring in other people.
Bit of an extremist there, being an advocate for free speech, being worried that her children could be arrested for what they say, and also being against illegal immigration. Of course she is. She's come here legally. She jumped through all the hoops. Very well said. Obviously, I'm cherry picking. They were probably the only 2 people of colour at the entire rally, because after all, it was organised by Tommy Robinson, so everyone else must have been a swivel-eyed lunatic, a foaming at the mouth rabid racist.
How are we racist? We are not racist. We are one nation. We bleed together. We born together. We stand together.
We don't 100%.
We unite together. Who's streets? Who's streets? Who's streets? Who's streets? Thank you.
The passion that man has. It's inspirational. We aren't racists. Of course the British aren't racist. If the people around him were all white supremacists, he'd be in fucking trouble. So that's 2 examples. Let's see a third.
The reason I went straight into the Tommy Robinson rally on September 13th, alone, unarmed, is because I was born and raised in England, and there are white people everywhere, and it has never been an issue. If they wanted to do something to me by now, they could have. There are more of them than there are of me. And yet they haven't. Instead, they're just like my neighbors. I mean, my neighbor's Dave, and he's great, and he helps us with things in our garden when it breaks. My church community. And they're my friends, they're my classmates. I wasn't going to believe for a second that they're all evil and horrible and they want me out of the country. They just feel disconnected to towns and cities in England because of mass migration. And there's people are not speaking English. In England. TikTok made my account age restricted yesterday because they knew my Tommy Robinson video was going viral. Never try and silence a black woman. The stereotypes is we've got a lot of mouth, a lot of lip. Big mistake.
She calls it the Tommy Robinson rally. And she's right, it's never been a problem because this issue has never been about skin colour. It isn't about race. It's about culture, or rather a lack of culture. From the men who are coming here both legally and illegally, but the illegals, who barely speak English if they speak English at all, and don't understand that in the UK it's not okay to molest women and girls in the street just because your own culture thinks that's fine. Look at those extremists walking calmly and quietly along the street, yet the old Bill turned up with riot gear. But strangely, when the pro-Palestine mob hold their marches, which always get violent, the police seem to treat them with kid gloves. And yes, a Palestinian flag was ripped up on stage, and maybe that's wrong. But maybe it also reflects the mood of so many people in the UK. That we have politicians who care more about that patch of land inhabited by people who want to kill us than their own citizens. Or the people who wave that flag openly hating the Brits, the Jews and everyone else. Fuck me, that was a bit heavy. Let's lighten the mood.
I was invited to come on this. Go on then, let's get it out of our systems. Keir Starmer is a wanker. That wasn't part of my speech, but that's perfectly acceptable.
That's almost our new national anthem. And that gentleman was Ben Habib from Advance UK. A true English gentleman who was actually born in Pakistan. But like I said, it's about culture. He's as British as the next man, agreeing that Keir Starmer is indeed a wanker. Whether he does it himself or allegedly gets it done by a Ukrainian rent boy, that's open to question. So let's take a look at this. That is a glorious sight. That is the silent majority realising that they have a voice. The government have ignored the people of this country, so now the people of this country are doing something that the government cannot ignore. And let's be blunt, Starmer is a fucking dead man walking anyway. Come next May, when we have the Scottish, Welsh and English local elections, he's getting fucking wiped out by reform. If he lasts that long, because he's just sacked Peter Mandelson, Lord Mandelson, known as the Prince of Darkness. Now, first of all, he installed him without doing the proper security check, so he misled the House. He could lose his job just for that. But also, he sacked Peter Mandelson. That man knows where all the bodies are buried. Anyway, I'm going to finish with a clip of another person talking about Keir Starmer, a man who sadly we lost last week. All the usual stuff applies. Buy me a coffee and Patreon. And as ever, thanks for watching.
I can give you my opinion of Keir Starmer. Not a fan. Go on, let's have it. Well, look, I mean, first of all, what he's doing with this Brexit thing, based on my limited understanding, and again, as an outsider, is like the ultimate denial of democracy. You guys had an up or down vote of the highest turnout election in modern British history.
Ever, yeah.
Right? Ever in the history of the country, right? And they lost. And people said no. When you had 80+% turnout, people did not want to be part of the European Union. And now Keir Starmer is undermining the democratic will of the people. That is not a democracy. And these are the people that are always saying, yes, you know, we're very big about liberal democracy. No, you're not. You're about an oligarchy. Your oligarchy is an expert class permanently entrenched. Not a fan of Keir Starmer. Obviously, politically, ideology, you know, he's a far left winger. I would even almost put him in the Marxist camp at times. What he's doing in immigration is a total fraud. No one should actually believe it.